So I wanted to tell you some more about Bright Star and how it happened to become a book. And I put this image here. This is one of the first sketches that I began doing when I knew that I wanted to make this story. And what I was doing is I wanted to find things that help us heal, that help us be fine and grounded and healthy and happy, um, when sometimes there are things that are happening that it might even hurt us. And during the last few years, well, we have been seeing a lot of things happening to families, to children, including, for example, the pandemic, the COVID pandemic. You know, it's been a hard time for all of us. And I kept thinking, how do we do when things happen to us and then we have to come out still healthy and continue our lives? And how do you heal something that already hurt you? And maybe it feels like the hurt was really, really hard and irreparable. So I started to make sketches, because that's one of the ways in way when I have questions, I find answers by going to my drawing table and taking pieces of paper that I might find anywhere, like this one here, and start writing words and making images like this one. And this is a picture of one of the first ideas, like the first drawings and some words that I put in my journal. I love to use journals, and I always have a journal with me, a little notebook. And when I'm thinking of something, I don't want to forget something, I get an idea, or I just feel like working, then I start putting things in my journals. And this one that I'm showing you in this image is the very first idea that I had for a story. So I didn't know much about the story yet, but you can see that there is a little deer there, and you might also see a hummingbird. I knew I wanted those two things to be part of my story. These animals, well, they are part of a very important part of our Earth and our continent, which is called the borderlands. Now, the borderlands are that space that is between two different countries. In this case, I knew I wanted to make a story about the place where Mexico and the United States meet. I am Mexican, and I came one day through the border to go to the United States. It's a place that a lot of people use to go north or south, depending on what we need or where we want to go. But when I was making this book, I realized that if I wanted to tell a story about the borderlands, then I was going to have to include animals, because animals are also part of the borderlands. They also cross the border. They go from Mexico to the United States, to the United States to Mexico. They do it all the time because animals do not recognize that there is a border there. They do not know that here is the end of Mexico. The only thing that they know is that they need to go to the places where they are going to find things that they need. So I started to do a lot of drawings like this little venadita, and I call it venadita because it's a little deer. Mm-hmm. And in Spanish, we call them venados, venadita. So I knew I wanted to make my story about this little venadita because deer are one of the animals that inhabit the borderlands, where mostly is a desert land. That means there are a lot of desert plants and animals. And I wanted to make my story about those animals, those plants, and that place. So I started making drawings of plants like this cactus and other plants that you might find in those places. because I was going to integrate them to my story. I also did drawings like this one of jaguars and snakes. And I'm going to show you that I have here with me, actually, I have my friend Jaguar, that she came to be with us while we read this story. I'm going to put her right here. I have 3 Jaguar friends that are here with me, and I brought them because if we pay attention, I hope Karen and everybody who is here, that they might catch a Jaguar inside the story. See if you find it when I read it. I also brought this Jaguar, which is just ahead of a Jaguar, but it's a very special one because I'm going to show you how it sounds. So I'm going to put my Jaguar right here. And
okay, can I just jump in? That was incredible.
I'm glad that you like it. I'm really glad, Karen. And I also brought my friend a snake. You see, there, here she is. I'm gonna put her here next to me so that she can also listen to the story. And I hope that when we are reading to the book Bright Star, that you open your eyes and see if you can find a jaguar and a snake inside the illustrations. And then I'm just gonna show you some other drawings that I made. I made this drawing of bats and plants and this moth. And they are all part of this place, the Sonoran Desert and the borderlands. And little by little, I was making this story. But it will not be complete if I didn't go and did research in the place that I wanted to know better. So I went into the Sonoran Desert, and I had people and friends who guided me to get to see and know things I didn't know about the desert. For instance, that it is a really beautiful place, that in this place, sometimes, I don't know if this happens to you, but sometimes when we think of the desert, we think that maybe there is nothing there, you know, that nothing grows and it's so harsh and the weather is so thick and so strong and so hard that there is nothing there, when in reality, the desert is a place full of life. Sometimes we don't get to see it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And I also got to be at the border, right where Mexico and the United States meet. And I saw also walls and fences that are being built so that people cannot cross from one side to the other. This is a fence that I visited. I actually took pictures of this fence to make the paintings in Bright Star. And what I did is that I took photographs of the materials like concrete and metal, and I used those colors and textures, put them inside of my computer, and I painted my illustrations with those photographs. But I also was with a lot of people who were sharing with me how when we put walls in a place, we actually can hurt a lot of other people too. Because when we put walls for people not to cross to where they need to go, some people might put themselves in danger by trying to cross. Now, unfortunately, walls and fences not only try to stop people, but they actually stop animals. So if animals want to cross to go to the places where they find what they need to survive, whether, you know, water, food, or a place where to be safe or have their babies. If there is a wall or a fence there, they won't be able to go to where they need to go. So well, the other thing I want to say is that I know also that the only walls around are in the physical walls that we put in places. Sometimes we do have walls inside ourselves. And with the creation of Bright Star, I wanted to explore what will happen if actually we didn't use walls, if instead of that we realize that we are very, very connected.